Hey, what's up, everyone? My name is Trent. This is Rams Talk. Thank you for watching. Thanks for subscribing, and welcome to all the new subscribers who just jumped on board. Really appreciate having you. Thanks to all the legacy subscribers, everyone from the beginning, and who have kind of picked up along the way. Love all of your engagement and all of your comments and everything. Thanks for watching the live stream last week against the Lions. Shout out to LT Combat Sports Talk. Shout out to my family. Shout out to everyone. These are good times in Rams land. You can also follow me on Twitter at Real LA Rams Talk. We've got a big one this week against the Chicago Bears, Sunday Night Football, a chilly one in the Windy City. Oftentimes leading up to a game, I get a little nervous and I kind of start really building up the opponent, thinking, oh man, the Bears in Chicago, this defense, and it's all legit. Like, the Bears are a legit team. They're 8-4 atop the NFC North. But at the same time, I need to realize that this Rams team is even more legit. They're too legit. I'm not going to go all the way with that, but you know what I mean. And the Bears, just as much as I'm worried about Khalil Mack and Tariq Cohen and all that, Bears and Bears fans are worried about the suite of Rams players that are leading the league in pretty much everything. So, that being said, the first thing I want to really just talk about is, the injury situation to Malcolm Brown. He's going to be out for probably the rest of the season and playoffs with a broken clavicle. So John Kelly and Justin Davis have been activated. They'll probably split times, two very different backs. I know a lot of the fans really want to see John Kelly get a lot of the reps because he had a great preseason. I feel Justin Davis, as long as he can hold on to the ball, I like to see what he could do as well. So this is just next man up. And, they wouldn't be in the NFL if they weren't good rushers, but hopefully they are complete backs. And what I mean by that is Malcolm Brown was, in his limited role in the season, he was also a top-notch pass blocker. You saw his hands with that pass that he caught down the sideline against the Packers where he tiptoed. So John Kelly and Justin Davis need to, if they're going to be effective and kind of pick up where Malcolm Brown left off, they need to be complete backs as well, kind of like Todd Gurley. So just be interesting to see how they do. Of course, losing Malcolm Brown also leaves a void on special teams, so maybe that's Justin Davis filling in there. I don't see John Kelly running down the field trying to tackle opposing kick returners. So there's that. The other storyline is the temperature. There's going to be a chilly one, probably kind of like the Denver game where it snowed right before the game, but it was near freezing the whole time. A lot of people want to say the Rams don't play well in cold weather. Well, we just don't have a sample size. So we have the game against the Broncos where Goff threw an interception, didn't have a TD throw. So there's that. Rams still won the game. But then there's also the game last year against the New York Giants where Jared Goff had 4 touchdowns, and that was a cold game as well. So, one game he was on, one game he was off. So I really don't know how that will affect him, but a lot of other Rams players grew up in cold places, like Aaron Donald in Pittsburgh. So, I mean, granted, they're not skill players, but not all the skill players did. Most of them are from the South or the West or Northwest. But I think that all players have to play in the cold. Okay, so it's not just the Rams who are affected by it. Both quarterbacks have to throw. Mitch Trubisky coming back from a shoulder injury on his throwing arm. I mean, he has to loosen that arm up and play in 30, 35 degree weather as well. So this isn't just Jared Goff. How can he do in the cold? Mitch Trubisky, how can you perform coming off a shoulder injury in the cold? But the thing that I'm looking forward to the most when it comes to cold weather is, will the Rams strength and conditioning coach, Ted Rath, will he wear long sleeves or a jacket? Because I remember seeing him on the sidelines in Denver at Mile High just wearing like a tucked-in polo, a tightly tucked-in polo. Like that guy, if you've seen him in like those behind-the-scenes videos for the Rams, like that dude is no joke. And I think he's bought in, and he does not let the cold dictate what he's going to wear, and he's going to show it off. So let's just look on the sidelines of the Rams game, just see if you can spot a guy just wearing a tucked in short sleeve polo. That's going to be Ted Rath. I'm betting he doesn't wear a jacket or short sleeves. Now the matchup. So a lot of people the first thing they're going to talk about the Bears is their defense, the vaunted defense. And I'm not taking anything away from their defense. They lead the NFL in interceptions with 21. But if you dive deep into the numbers, which you know I like to do, diving deep into the numbers, out of those 21 interceptions that their defense has, 15 of those have come against the Cardinals and Josh Rosen, the Bills and Nathan Peterman, who's no longer in the NFL, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers with Jameis Winston, Ryan Fitzpatrick both played in that game, the Lions twice, Matt Stafford, and the Miami Dolphins with Brock Osweiler. So essentially, aside from Stafford, who, is kind of an interception machine, 15 of the 21 interceptions came against really bottom of the barrel quarterbacks in this league. So they did their job. They picked off terrible quarterbacks. They also played against Tom Brady, Aaron Rodgers, Russell Wilson, Kirk Cousins, then Sam Darnold, and Eli Manning, and they have 6 interceptions against those guys combined. So I would think that Jared Goff fits into the latter group, and I say if he's going to throw an interception, it's no more than 1. So the Bears defense does what they need to do against opposing quarterbacks, but they are okay against other quarterbacks that are like legit quarterbacks in the league. They are number 1 in turnover differential at plus 12. But guess who's number 2? The Rams at plus 11. So the Rams don't have as many takeaways as the Bears do, but they don't have as many giveaways. So they hold onto the ball a lot better than the Bears do. So the Bears have 37 sacks. The Rams have 33. So they're just 4 sacks behind the Bears. The Bears defense is legit. Especially their secondary. I really want to talk about their secondary, and these are going to be key matchups to watch. So they have 3 solid cornerbacks and a really solid safety in Eddie Jackson. So the matchup to watch really is going to be Brandon Cooks. So their cornerbacks play the same side of the field typically, just like the Rams do. So like one cornerback will always be on the left, one will always be on the right, and of course you have the slot, the nickel corner. So Prince Amukamara, he will be matched up against Brandon Cooks. And I think that's the real matchup to watch. Kyle Fuller should be matched up against Josh Reynolds. And Kyle Fuller, I think, has 6 interceptions. And then Bryce Callahan, I think that's his name, is a slot guy. He'll be matched up against Robert Woods. So out of those 3 matchups, the one that has kind of like the biggest discrepancy would probably be Cooks on Amukamara. And Amukamara is not bad at all, but he's probably the weakest of the 3. So I really see them going to Cooks a lot. I could also see Woods getting a lot of love because he's kind of just been that safety blanket for Goff, especially now that Kupp is out. And then I think really working the linebackers, especially Roquan Smith and Trevathan in the middle, with Higbee, Everett, and even Woods, if that's a thing, or Gurley out of the backfield, or John Kelly out of the backfield. So I think the middle of the field is a place to exploit. In terms of pass blocking, so this is going to be another like rubber meets the road, and this is another great matchup to watch, is Khalil Mack against Andrew Whitworth. And I know Khalil Mack is kind of lined up all over the place, but he'll be primarily lined up against Andrew Whitworth. Whitworth is top-notch left tackle. Khalil Mack is probably the second best defender, 9 sacks in the league. So that's going to be Andrew Whitworth making his money right there. If he can slow down Khalil Mack, because I don't think you're really going to stop Khalil Mack, but if you can slow him down enough, I think that'll be a huge difference maker in the game. The rest of the Bears' defensive line is good, but it's not like elite. Not every guy's elite. So I feel like the Rams on offense will need to. Well, I generally feel the key to this game is to run Todd Gurley early. Get Todd Gurley moving, get Todd Gurley in space, get Todd Gurley going there, open up the passing game. And I'm pretty sure the Bears are looking at, like, let's just take Todd Gurley out of this game. And so that's going to be, I this isn't a secret to anyone. So that's going to be the real matchup, is Gurley against the linebackers, Roquan Smith, Trevathan, and get into the second level. So last game against the Lions, they tried to run Gurley right up the gut. That wasn't working out, so they kind of busted him up between the guard and the tackle and kind of getting him open on the outside. And I think that's probably where they got to do it. Probably on the move him around on the opposite side of Khalil Mack. That's really going to be the key there. I think that, and if you're flipping it over to the the Bears offense and the Rams defense now, like I said, Trubisky's coming back off of an injury, missed the last 2 games. But Trubisky is a sneaky runner. Now, he's no Russell Wilson, but he averages 36 yards rushing per game. And I kind of like, when I hear about that and see that, and I've even seen some of the highlights, I get a flashback to Russell Wilson on those plays where it's like 3rd and 8. And he's in the pocket, he's kind of scrambling around, and then there's like a mile wide open between the line and the secondary, and he just runs for the first down. And Trubisky is that kind of guy where he can scramble out when he sees space and make those plays. So that's something I'd really be on the lookout for. But if you want to talk about the passing game, the Bears' top receiver is Tariq Cohen, kind of like the smallest guy in the field. Most people consider him a running back. I mean, I guess he is technically, but he has the most targets, the most receptions, the most receiving yards. He has over 600 receiving yards. He has over 300 rushing yards. And he is, I think, offensively speaking, he's the key to this game. If they can keep Tariq Cohen relatively in check, and I think this is going to fall squarely on the shoulders of Mark Barron and Corey Littleton. I think they are built more for a Tariq Cohen kind of guy, where they are faster linebackers that are better maybe in space and not so much stuffing the run, but more or less chasing guys down or being in coverage. I think that's where they can make that's where they're going to have to make it happen. And they can't miss tackles. You miss a tackle on Tariq Cohen, and that dude is gone. It's kind of like Alvin Kamara. So you got to treat him kind of like Alvin Kamara and really focus on him, because Jordan Howard leads the team in rushing. He's more of your traditional bruiser back between the tackles, and his snap count has diminished week after week after week, which has kind of been a pain in my ass. I have him in fantasy. Jordan Howard, I am not keeping you next year. You can count on that. So I hope they really take it to Jordan Howard, because I'm knocked out of the playoffs in fantasy. I got nothing to lose, so just take it to him. So Tariq Cohen is the guy, the wild card that they need to look out for, because when you look at their receivers, they don't have like that alpha. I mean, they did sign Allen Robinson. He missed a game or two, but like all of their receivers are all kind of like bunched in like the 600 to 400 like yards, receiving yards range. So you have Tariq Cohen at the top, Allen Robinson, Taylor Gabriel, their tight end, Trey Burton, who is like so Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde in terms of like being a complete no-show one game to catching a touchdown the next game. And then I'm missing someone, Anthony Miller. So they have a stable of receivers, like of above average receivers and tight end. They spread it out a lot, so it's not like one guy you have to focus on. So that'll be a real test for the Rams secondary, but I feel like with Aqib Talib back, he should be fresh and kind of ready to go. I feel like the Rams defense is really coming on strong at the right time. And before I get to Aaron Donald, I want to talk about Dante Fowler. Dante Fowler's really coming on. I mean, last week against the Lions, it seemed like he was in the backfield all the time. If you look at his snap count, since he was traded to the Rams, his snap count it doubled, and then it's tripled since his time in Jacksonville. So he's like getting those reps, and you can really see it working out and paying off. And I feel like he is starting to really live up to the billing of who he was when he was drafted. And if he continues this trend, I see the Rams potentially re-signing him, depending on how big his sticker tag or his price tag is, sticker cost, MSRP. So Dante Fowler Jr., I think, so Aaron Donald will be lined up, he kind of lines up to the left and the right of the guard, of the center, pretty much every time. Is kind of like they move him around a little bit. So a good matchup is going to be Aaron Donald on the rookie James Daniels, the left guard. Their left guard and their right guard, I want to say like Weitzman, oh man, totally butchering his name, but it's something like that. He's their lowest rated offensive lineman. So essentially from the left guard through the right side, that's the way to attack. So with Donald kind of wedging in between either Daniels in the center or Weitzman and the center, I think that's going to be, that's going to be the story there, with Fowler right next to him and Sue next to him, and then Fowler next to him. I think that's going to be a lot of pressure, and I think the Bears are going to want to get the ball out of Trubisky's hands quickly. They don't want him to get sacked. They don't want to get him injured. They want to, they know that Donald and Fowler are coming. Now, Aaron Donald, we all know he's a beast. 16 and a half sacks. He's had 2 sacks or more in 5 of his last 6 games. In that span, in those 6 games, he's had 24 QB hits, which is like 4 a game. He's had 16 tackles for a loss. And since 2017, whenever Aaron Donald records just 1 sack, the Rams are 16-0. So, if Aaron Donald gets 1 sack, looks like we're winning this game. Easy peasy. Just get that sack, the first drive of the game, call it a game. Just why bother playing? So yeah, I think that really that's it. Matt Nagy, the coach of the Bears, he was the offensive coordinator of the Chiefs last year under Andy Reid. So, you look at the offensive minds in the NFL, you've got McVay, like young coaches, you got McVay. Nagy is definitely one of those guys when people look at, teams want to hire the next young guy, the next bright offensive mind. It's McVay, it's Nagy. Nagy, he learned everything, not everything, but, when you come from an Andy Reid offense, look at all the things that, when you look at that Chiefs-Rams game, look at what the Chiefs were doing. Look at all those designs and packages and everything. And that's not, you have a dynamic running back with Tariq Cohen, and they're going to just be giving the Rams a lot of looks that you don't normally get. So that's going to be interesting to see. So, I feel like the Bears are like the Rams were last year. Second-year QB, has some weapons, has a good coach, has a good defense, and they're just kind of like really happy with where they're at, I guess you could say. That's where the Rams were in 2017. So, I expect the Rams to win this game. When they're 11-1, they are the better team, I feel. I don't take anything away from the Bears at all. They're a very formidable opponent. That defense is going to be tough. Their offense is going to be pretty tough as well. It's just going to be interesting to see what the climate does to these teams and the weather does. And it's going to be a night game in Chicago. It's going to be even colder. So I hope no one gets injured. And that's it. That's my take on this game. I really appreciate you watching. I need some water after this. And thank you for subscribing and joining the community. And if you haven't, please do so. We'd love to have you on board. And to all the Bears fans watching, thanks. I hope I didn't butcher anyone's name. And like I said, subscribe if you haven't. Watch some older videos if you'd like to. And as always, go Rams.